EFF leader Julius Malema and Member of Parliament Mbuyiseni Ndlozi are back at the Randburg Magistrate's Court today. They're on trial for the alleged assault of Lieutenant-Colonel Johannes Venter during the burial of Winnie Madikizela-Mandela back in April of 2018. Our reporter, Tshegohaco Moagi, has been tracking the story for some time. Tshegohaco, good morning. Give us a reminder of what happened in the last appearance.
Good morning, Michelle. So you would remember that when EFF leader Julius Malema and MP Mbuyiseni Ndlozi appeared here at the Randburg Magistrate's Court earlier, in June rather, they were hoping, and they had put an application through, that this case would be dismissed without them facing any sentencing. But that application was then dismissed and denied by the magistrate following them putting that application through and really hearing the heads of arguments from the defense together with the state. The magistrate then saying that this case needs to then continue. So what we then saw when that then happened, we saw Julius Malema, the EFF leader, taking to the stand to really reiterate and really narrate actually what took place on that day in April of 2018 during the funeral of struggle icon Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. And he really just spoke about what actually happened. He said that Lieutenant-Colonel Venter was actually standing in front of the vehicle, the car that they were in, together with EFF leader Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, and he was not allowing the vehicle to go through. He did say that, if the issue was around the car itself, then he would have allowed for the car to park elsewhere, and he and Mbuyiseni would have then walked into the cemetery to bury Mama Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. And he did say, Michelle, that, he was not going to allow anyone to stop him from concluding those proceedings of that funeral back in 2018. So those are just some of the sentiments that he spoke to as to what actually took place on that day in April of 2018 during that funeral service. He did admit to pushing Colonel Venter on that day, but he also said that, he was ensuring that he was able and he was given the opportunity to go through into the cemetery with his vehicle and be able to bury Mama Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. So that was during his testimony earlier in June.
In fact, Tshegohaco, what it sounded like when Julius Malema was on the stand was like a communication issue. Because Malema says if Johannes Venter had merely told him, your vehicle is not allowed, please park your vehicle elsewhere, perhaps none of this would have happened. I'm sort of phrasing what he had to say on the stand, but effectively.
Absolutely, Michelle. That is actually, paraphrasing what he has said on the stand. He did mention, that if he was told that his vehicle was not allowed to proceed and it was not part of the actual procession and the convoy that had gone into the cemetery, he would then have been okay with actually leaving the vehicle outside of the cemetery and proceeding into the cemetery by foot. That is what he had told the court in his previous appearance here in Randburg. He also mentioned, and we do know also that Colonel Venter during his testimony saying that he did see the accreditation tags for Julius Malema and EFF and the MP Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. However, he did not see an accreditation tag, so to speak, for the vehicle in itself. And, EFF leader Julius Malema during his testimony saying that if there was a better way of speaking about what had actually happened, instead of Colonel Venter allegedly putting himself in front of the vehicle to block the car from actually going through, then he would have actually walked into the cemetery together with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. He also mentioned that what was then happening during that time when Colonel Venter was standing in front of that vehicle, there were other members of the police force or officers really that were in the vicinity and were seeing what was happening, and none of them came to the defense of Colonel Venter. Instead, they stood back and they watched what was actually taking place. So that was really what the main testimony that came out of EFF leader Julius Malema. Today we are expecting him, of course, to continue his testimony. He will be cross-examined by the state. From there we are expecting then Member of Parliament Mbuyiseni Ndlozi to take the stand.
All right, and you'll keep us up to speed on exactly what unfolds in court. Tshegohaco Moagi, thanks very much indeed. Live to us there from the Randburg Magistrate's Court.